right, aloha and welcome to Own the Outcome podcast. My name is Tyler Devereaux, and today we have the one and only Ryan frickin' Dodd. Ryan, welcome, bro.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, excited to have you here, mate. So let's get into, those of y'all who don't know Ryan, you're going to get to know Ryan, and Ryan's a beast, man. First thing that I'll tell you is we'll just do a little drip here. He is a world record ski jumper. Is that how I'm supposed to say it?
Yep. Water ski jumper. Yes, sir.
Bro, Ryan came to one of my classes about a year and a half ago or so.
Yeah.
Front row, taking notes the whole freaking time, like just all in. And it's been fun to see your journey. Dude, to learn more about you. I remember talking to you at the training and just being like, damn, this dude's a beast, man. So tell me a little bit about your journey, where you grew up, because you grew up in Canada, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, I grew up on a farm in the prairies in Canada. I could see the Rocky Mountains about 150 miles away, and yeah, a cattle farm. And
What part of Canada?
Alberta, near Calgary.
Yeah. Sweet. I lived in Toronto for a little bit.
No.
So I did
Really?
a church mission in Toronto.
Amazing.
And lived all throughout Ontario.
Really?
I loved it, dude. My favorite candy bar ever, Wonder Bars, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, bro,
Yeah.
they're the best.
Yeah.
The best.
Amazing. That's cool.
Do you probably don't even eat candy.
Well, in the 3 months leading up to an event, I'm really aiming not to. But the last 2 weeks, I was in Nicaragua, and I got hooked on these almond croissants and cinnamon buns, and I couldn't stop.
It's okay. It's okay. So you're normal.
Yeah,
You're natural.
It happens. My nutrition guy, we have a call later. So, yeah.
All right. So tell them about your just kind of your journey in the skiing space, then we'll get into the real estate side of things.
Skiing. So I grew up on a farm in Canada, which makes no sense. Our summer was like 3 months long. And my dad, he was I would say like a state or provincial level skier, but he was a farmer and he would never put skiing in priority. Our family started in like a cabin, like summer vacation sort of water skiing. And when I was 9 years old, my dad brought me down. We had like this we still have it with this coulee. So big valley is the other term for coulee. And he was like, do you want to water ski? And I was like, I just remember I didn't really like it. I was like trying to do a tube and kneeboard, but I just responded impulsively, yeah. And that was it. Then my dad all winter took his tractors with no permits, with no county approval, nothing, and just built like 100-foot dam in our cow pasture over the ice. Dug out to the side of the hill, built this dam, didn't engineer it, who knows if it'll work. And in the spring we come down when all the runoff melts, and we had this 3/4 mile long lake.
That's awesome.
There was freaking trees in it growing up, and my grandma chipped in on the boat, and I still wasn't skiing much. I was pretty much, my dad was so stoked. I was like driving him after school and but yeah, so started water skiing. Then the deal was you have to work or ski or do something, I guess, like hard work. So there was, and this was kind of to fill any and all free time was the deal. So I could work on the farm after school till dinner and after dinner, or I could water ski or go to the gym. So I just kind of the picture of farming in Canada and like the way we were doing it was not pleasant. It was literally like my worst, like straight up, absolutely no chance. So I would water ski or go to the gym all 3 hours.
Yeah.
Literally no social life. That's what I did.
But that's how you get good at stuff. You freaking go all in on it.
Then the social life followed, and actually we had a junior camp at our place with one of the best coaches in the world, who was my dad's friend. I had a lot of neat circumstances tie in, and that's where I met my wife, Brianne.
How old are you?
15.
Oh, that's awesome.
At a junior national training camp for the Junior Worlds.
Okay, and you're three-time or 4-time?
5 times consecutive world champion in the last decade straight.
Bro.
But yeah, so my goal kind of in that point, I won the Junior Worlds that year, but I was like, my goal was to be a world champion, world record holder. So yeah, I've been on this whole journey with my wife, Brianne, as training partners, as she's my boat driver. She's the only one who drives the boat in practice. Like,
That's sick.
I'm the kite and she's flying me. It's insane.
That's sick.
But yeah, and it was like basically as sad it is for farming. I was like, to get off the farm, to get out of my town, to get this life that I kind of had in my head from my idol at the time. His name is Jarrett Llewellyn, and he was in West Palm on a man-made lake with this mansion at the end, world champion, world record holder, nice guy, so inspiring, good vibes. And I just saw him, and I had the chance to ski with him like a week a year and I took that week, and all year, everything I got from that week with him was what just drove and manipulated my brain and pulled me. And by the time I was 16, I was like competing head to head with him, like at open world championships as a junior. I mean, I was that obsessed, and yeah, so.
What was it like to compete against your idol?
So the funny thing is, like, when I got a taste that I'm there, it didn't impress me. Like, when I got a taste that I can be with him, I couldn't believe that I wasn't beating him. Like, I'm not joking. Like, it was so weird looking back now. I'm like, this is insane. But there was no programming. There was no one teaching me this. It just, once I got a taste, like if I beat him once in practice, even if he was sick and like didn't try, but I beat him that day, I felt that there was no reason that I should not beat him at the world championships and win the worlds. That was actually, and I kept staying with that, but that was really, really, really hard for me to take.
Hard for you to take, okay.
Because I didn't win. Like, I felt like when I was 16, because I was training with him, and I had beat him in practice, and I felt like I could jump as far as he could, that when I went to the Worlds in Italy in 2001 as a junior in the Open Worlds, I didn't win. I was absolutely crushed.
Why do you think that is? Not that you were crushed. Why do you think it is that you didn't win?
Great question.
What did he have? Because you knew you could beat him.
So yeah, me in practice, like I guess I just wasn't as well adapted with performing on demand, because the winning jump actually wasn't that far. It was a jump that I could have done. I think, for a lot of those, so that was when I was 16. I did not win a world championships till I was, how old was it? 29 or
okay.
20. So I went 13 years feeling like I should win and have the world record and capable, and progressively going farther away from it.
So what got stronger? What got you to the position where you went from 13 years, by the way, that speaks volumes about you.
I was honestly miserable for a decade.
Yeah, because it speaks volumes about you, though, that you kept freaking going.
And I had herniated discs in neck and back and spine and broken ankles and this and exploded heel bones and just everything, and financial stuff and loss of sponsors and sales in water skiing and all these things.
What kept you going, bro? Like, here's my question. What kept you going? What was it inside of you that, like, you know what, I'm gonna keep going? Because most people don't. You know that. Most people don't. What was it that kept you going?
There was no thing. And it didn't feel like I was cornered looking for something else. It just, there was, again, this wasn't like something I read in a book. This was just my brain at points the belief faded a little bit. Like, especially the world record, because this guy Freddy Krueger, like when I was 18, I had jumped 229 feet, and that day I could feel the world record. It was 233 feet in a tournament. I was like, I called people, I'm doing it. I was so close, and I tensed up a little, and I slipped and missed it. So that was when I was 18. His record went all the way to 247 feet. Like, this is like inches, so like 2 feet further is big, right?
Yeah.
And he went 18 feet further. And I couldn't even go near that in practice. So that was really crushing.
Yeah.
To progressively feel more hopeless. I think I went through periods. Okay, I had to reevaluate goals. Like, okay, we're aiming for podiums now. We're gonna get a good baseline. We're gonna build. I was just clawing, right?
But hold on, because that's a key thing.
Yeah.
What is up, y'all? Listen, if this podcast has brought joy or value at some point as you're listening to it, we would love it if you would be so kind as to leave us a review down below. That is how we keep this thing moving and finding individuals just like you to pour value into. Now let's get back to the show. You said this world record seeped out of the distance, but what you did is you brought the vision down. You still had the vision of what you wanted.
I had to readjust
to
build a base that could, I think, help bring me hope, like the base of consistency. And then I started convincing myself, okay, if I get consistent, then I can beat him when he screws up. Right. And then, I got him when he screwed up once, and then I'm there. And then, okay, now I got 1 out of 5. Now we're working on percentages. Now my baseline's here. And like, it was just this whole little game to start to build belief and rebuild belief, which I had so strongly when I was like a teenager. Then honestly, I had like a life, want to talk about stuff. Like, sure. I won my first big event, like a big one that I just dominated. And I went out to the bar and got drunk and, partied and with a bunch of guys, and we were all ego yapping, and I got my butt handed to me. I'd never been in a fight, and I did, and I got almost killed outside a bar.
When was this?
2011 in Flint, Michigan. And guess what? Also, it was the first time leading up to that I was number 1 on the world ranking list for over a month consecutively. So I just had this kind of feeling coming. I just crushed it at this event where he jumped well and I beat him. Freddie and all the other top guys had this belief is strong, and I literally woke up on the pavement, fractured skull, 3 parts of my brain bleeding, subdural hematomas. I was in Flint, Michigan. You're not supposed to go out there, of course. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And
How old were you at this point?
2011 was I 26, and we just built our house and our new lake in Palm Bay, and we just got married. I'm just number 1 in the world, and I'm about to go and crush it and win my first world, and I got all this stuff lining up, and then boom, and I'm almost dead. And the brain was bleeding. They were going to drill into my head. It had 3 spots bleeding and a fracture here through the skull. And I told them not to drill into my head. I said, no, you're not giving me permission to do it. And then the bleeding stopped. So there's still all the inflammation, the swelling. And it was this very, very serious traumatic brain injury. And I had 8 months of like not raising my heart rate above resting. I was only allowed to lightly walk. I was in concussion recovery groups and meeting other athletes, and started with an amazing performance coach and a psychologist, and I did everything naturally, no medication. I refused to have any intervention that way, and slowly built myself up. As for why did I never give up, I really couldn't. I felt like jumping was my lifeline. I felt like I literally felt like air, like to breathe at that time, like those years was like jumping. Like I honestly only felt okay when I was warming up in the moment, and then after, and the rest I was uneasy. And that's how I was for years, like a lot of years. It was, I wouldn't say healthy. It was totally, it was scary.
But here's the title of the podcast is Own the Outcome.
Yeah.
So own the outcome. You can't control the outcome, but you can own any outcome. Yeah. And this is what I want to get into.
Everyone's like, why didn't you sue those guys? I'm like, I get tingles right now. I was like, sue those guys? That was me. I was there. I was the idiot. My buddy was the one who mouthed them off. I was still there. I didn't stop them. I still walked outside. I still engaged. It's all me. I took absolute 100% ownership in everything, and my mental patterns and why I'm there and my ego and all this. Like, yeah, I believe in that more than anything.
Yep.
I have a hard time communicating with people that don't. I get very upset, or I have to leave, or I get angry, or whatever. But it's because I think I'm so believe in it so much.
Yeah, I can relate to that so much. Like I really sincerely get irritated. And I get irritated because it's like, because you see, it's just not serving. It's absolutely not serving to them and to whatever, especially if you're on a team doing anything together. It's like, you're not going to get anywhere that way. Like you taking ownership for it. You could have stayed. You could have been pissed at them. You could have been pissed at your buddy.
Zero.
Instead, you just went in.
I went home. I went in. I sat in my house. I consulted people. I learned about the brain, learned about the mind, learned about meditation and routines. And literally, that's when I just went absolutely immersed into, like, there was there, like, I told my wife, probably 97% of the days for 13 years, I've woke up and said this, like, we were arguing about something, and I said, I've said these 3 things to myself. I'm still not being nice right now, but I've said it for 13 years in the morning. Like, okay, like, I'm trying. Like, and I did a yoga morning breathwork routine still, like, this is 13 years now. Like, but yeah, I was not supposed to be jumping after they said.
Wait, so what are those things that you say to yourself in the morning?
Positive, peaceful, present.
Positive, peaceful, present.
Yeah, and I just try to feel it. Like I'm not always like feeling it, like laying there floating in the clouds, but yeah. And there's just a simple little, I used to do a 30-minute yoga. Now it's a 10-minute yoga with kids and more stuff. But
You want to hear something crazy?
yeah.
It's what I say,
Yeah.
one of my affirmations that I've
Yeah.
said for probably a decade. Like I changed up my affirmations,
Yeah.
but this one has stayed consistent for a decade, is that I'm a patient, present, loving, and encouraging father.
You're adding. That's good. That's good. I need to build it.
That's what it is, because I found
Yeah.
myself like getting, not patient. And so it's patient,
Yeah.
present, and positive, what you said, right?
Positive, peaceful, present.
Positive, peaceful,
I need to be
present.
more patient as well.
Positive. Well, but if you're positive and you're peaceful is
Yeah.
present, or
Yeah.
is patience, you know?
And I've tried to like feel, okay, like I'll get this feeling, okay, what is it meaning? And then I'll think, okay, like today in my day, like what is this? When will I feel this? And okay, it'd be like the kid's upset, positive, right? Or peaceful as I walk down to the dock, like I'm and present when I'm engaged in and then I have throughout my sport and my routines, like in my process to my sport, which is like a 2-hour process to like when I go on the water, non-negotiable, it's the same every time. There's a whole bunch of little stuff intertwined in there. But backing it up to the head injury, that helped me kind of start to unwind and build back to like life. And like I was scared in the car. I had PTSD. They all say whatever. I'm like, cool, I'm going to work through this. I'm not going to take some stuff and cry about it. It was awful though. But probably because it was so critical for me to start jumping, I did. I had headaches for like the next year when I was doing it. I probably shouldn't have been doing it for like health reasons, but for me mentally, I think I needed to. And the neatest thing was my very first tournament back, which was about 9 months after the injury. I did a personal best jump of my life.
No way.
Yeah, very first round. It was, and I had zero expectations. I was absolutely terrified. Even like I was so skittish around people, and I was scared to go to the lake. I just rode over the jump in practice, and like people laughed, like, "What is he doing?" Right? And then somehow I just like got out of this world into my space and had a personal best jump and longest jump of the year. Next event was the U.S. Masters, which is like 60 years going, the biggest, most high pressure event of the year, and I won my first Masters.
Bro.
It was just the coolest. It was very, very cool, but still I did not feel good. Like I felt those moments were euphoric. But yeah, that was like 2012 coming back.
So did you go a decade of working, putting the work. You finally get to a part where you have your best that you've done, or you beat these guys. Head injury,
yeah,
completely knocks you off baseline. You find yourself a way to get you back to baseline, and now by getting yourself back to baseline, your baseline has shifted because you've done the work here.
It's totally different. Yeah.
But what I loved with what you said is you said you had no expectations.
No.
Sometimes I believe that our expectations get in the way of our gratitude and get in the way of just our being, right?
I was just smiling, walking around, like I was just like, I'm here, like I'm actually here. And it's like it took something so intense to get me to feel that. And that's why I'm like, this pattern of, I don't want to have something so horrific to like grow. It just seems much more motivating.
Bro, this episode's so good right now. Like, I'm excited for you to even go back and listen.
Yeah.
For you.
Me too, yeah.
Like, bro, your story is incredible. I don't think that you give, I'm just telling you from what I see from you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you give yourself enough credit for your journey and how remarkable the journey is.
I've just, there's stuff going on. Like, I don't know if I have time to like, or maybe I don't take the time to do that enough. I used to write at night what I'm grateful for a lot of years, like at least 5 years. I believe that helped. I haven't been doing it the last 5, but at that time there was zero. I know I had we had 4 condos tied in with my wife's parents. We partnered on them because I didn't even know how to like make an offer or like change a doorknob, but that we had that then, which seemed like a lot, but my wife totally managed the 4 tenants. Now it's like it's not that. I was just thinking about skiing all day in my.
Yeah, but bro, your method works. So before we got on camera, we were talking about the real estate side of things, and we were talking about really a little bit about your journey. And I just paused, I just stopped, and I said, "We're just going to dive in. We're going to talk about this stuff." And so your skiing journey, real quick, then I'm going to circle it back to the real estate side. Your skiing journey, you go head injury, then you do a personal best, then you win a Masters,
and now we're 2012, yeah.
And then give me just like the highlights from there.
Oh man. So it was a while. There was I thought the highlight was coming 2013 because the World Championships are every 2 years, right?
Okay.
So that year, guess what I missed in 2011 from the head injury? The World Championships. I missed it every 2 years. Guess what this also does? I'm a green card holder, U.S. resident, but I still water ski for Canada. I'm still on the Canadian national team. It's a government-funded sport, the same as the Olympics. We get a salary. Guess how we get the salary? And it's for 2 years based off performance at the World Championships. I missed the World Championships, and I was ready to win that year before the head injury. So I lost my funding, too. I lost my funding, but guess what my wife did? She was competing at the time. She absolutely rose to the occasion. She's in Russia on a natural body of water. She's the shortest girl in the event, and slalom skiing, what she does is all about reach and this. She ties for third place at the World Championships and gets her funding. So it was pretty magical. And I'm at home, like, because I couldn't even go on a plane, right? Like, laying at home in bed, and she's like, it was so cool.
That's so
it was
sick.
Majorly clutch. But yeah, so then I worked back, I started winning right after that. Like, I was kind of 50-50 with Freddie Krueger at the time. Literally no one else won for over a decade, really, and 50-50, and I was just working on those percentages and working on my baseline, like say 90th percentile jump, like 9 out of 10, where was my average, and working that up in practice. That was a strategy from sports psychology I still work with.
So good.
So that was my focus, so that means you have to be insanely ready. Like, I don't hit the jump unless I'm in my like top. I don't even do it.
Yeah.
So that was working on that in practice, working on win percentages on events, and just in my own world, working on that, dialing it up from 50, and then it took me about 5 years to get to like 90% win. So whatever, there's 40 some wins in there. But yeah, 2013 was the next Worlds. I was top seed. I was ready to win again, and I just got so amped and excited, and I tensed up, and I didn't. Like, the door was open, and it was absolutely devastating again. And I was the most lean and shredded and this, and I had like a 10-foot gap on the competition, and I screwed up in the finals.
Yeah.
And then, I had enough of that. So 2015, I won the Worlds in Mexico, and I've won everyone since.
Bro.
Pretty much everything. Aside from, there's many ups and downs with more broken ankles and crashes, and I missed a whole... 2021, 2020, I crashed and broke my ankle. I had to miss all of 2021 because of a poor rehab strategy. So my only event of the year was the World Championships, and my freaking mantra for 2 years is World Champ 2021. It's like, so I had to literally, this is another crazy one. 2021, I went into the Worlds literally with a not functioning, not healed right ankle, hadn't competed for months, was jumping like once a week, and went in blind saying, but I had belief. I know I can do it. I know I'm 10 feet ahead of everybody. And I went easy in prelims, did like one jump to make finals, and I just said, I'm going to take the gamble, turn the dial. This is another neat moment for me. Another big highlight, going to the lake for finals. I normally do my nice music. I put on literally death metal driving to the lake.
Yeah.
And I broke out crying. Going to finals. My wife and kids were at the house. No more daddy time. I got in my truck to drive to the lake for finals. It was weird because I was like, I said I'm doing it. I know how to do it. The risk was high. I had belief. And I knew I had to go to a little bit of a scary place. And this is impulsively, I just turned the music and not what I had planned to do. And I went out and just absolutely crushed it on my opening jump and won. And that was pretty special. That was a highlight.
Bro. And were you cried because...
I don't know. It was...
You just came out. You
going
knew
to
that
some
you...
place, and it was scary. It was terrifying.
That's
and
what I was
I
gonna
have
say.
so much to lose now with family, and my sport's life-threatening. And but I chose to do it. I said, I'm doing it. I don't know why. You wonder why, because the risk is high, but it was such a funky thing, and I just absolutely did it beautifully with ease. So that was a really neat moment.
And that was 2021.
2021, yeah. That one was tough. Like 19 was like, for me, it was
bro,
easy. 17 was like, I'm in shape, I'm here, I'm going to crush it and come in. Like, these are the worlds. Like, 15, 17, 19. There's some 19 was hard. I had a herniated disc in my back, and I was actually totally out most of that year. But it was more whatever. 2021 was gnarly. Like, building up to each world championships, there was some crazy journey. That was just a little glimpse of a moment that was sticks.
What was it like to call your wife after that moment? And
she was there.
Oh, she was.
I skied right into shore and hugged and.
Oh yeah, because she's driving the boat.
Not in the events, she's not allowed. That would be totally biased.
Okay. Gotcha.
But yeah, she was there cheering.
What was that like?
My dad was there. It was beautiful. It was really cool, and the kids and.
She had been so proud, bro, knowing the battle.
We had one kid. Cruz wasn't even born. He was due in the next week, and Ari was there at 2, and my dad, and it was wild, totally wild. So much going on, and then last World Championships were 2023. That was more calculated and on a plan and executed, and didn't really feel anything. It was quite odd.
Yeah,
it's just like, I just did this plan, and it would be like I did a presentation and it ended. Like, it was very weird, to be honest. And now I'm on some new journey, and strained an ACL 3 months ago, won the first event of the year, had a massive jump in practice this spring that I've been kind of dreaming of, this spiritual experience, and landed very odd, this beautiful jump. Didn't feel anything, but my intuition said something was up. I had no pain. A couple hours later, I couldn't straighten my leg, and I was actually driving to a job site, I hopped out, and I'm like, in these flip-flops, and I'm like, I can't straighten my leg. What? No, and I'm hobbling around, and I'm like, oh no. I still competed in the next event, lost by a foot, and then got an MRI, and not so good. But
but bro, like, think about all the challenges along the journey and the obsession. Like, what I want people to take away from this is how obsessed you got about the little details that led to a big result. What I believe people get obsessed about is a big result without doing the little things that get you there.
Yeah, for sure. Only the stuff, all the daily stuff that, like, I asked when I was filling out the questionnaire for the podcast today. I was like, what are my strengths? Like, I don't know. I don't think it's like perseverance. I was like, okay,
resilient.
Resilient, but I don't even know what the full definition of perseverance is, but I would be thinking like, I am every day waking up. There's a few days where I at least leave and go surfing, but I'm switching to, like, in the last 20 days surfing, I did 20 to 23 hours of yoga, 50 hours of surfing, a couple hours of hiking, 3 hours of biking, and 10 hours in the gym, and I tapered strength training back because my body was saying no. This is in 20 days, and then family time and hanging out, and thankfully business just was like 30 minutes a day. Somehow it worked out.
Bro, when I look at you, it is persistence, resilience, consistently. Like, consistently. A lot of people can be resilient for a little bit. A lot of people can be persistent for a little bit. I don't even know if that even works, because when I look at persistence, like, I love to use that word, because that's consistency over time, is being persistent, right? Yeah. But, like, being knocked off baseline, getting back to baseline. Like, that's how I define resilience, as being knocked off baseline, coming back to baseline. And then, kind of like we talked about, then your baseline has shifted. Yeah. Because you were strong enough and resilient enough and persistent enough to get you back to baseline.
This spring was a long, I thought, I also stopped drinking like a year and a half ago. But then I got all this extra energy and got more ambitious, and I'm like, oh no, like, it hit me this spring, like a bunch of stuff in business and this and that and loans and debt and this construction and that, and then my going to a tournament, and the kid our little guy Cruz has seizures and sick family, and all at once, tenants leaving, like boom, 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 just gone, and they're like, where? And then lawsuit, and I'm like, it just imploded. And I'm like flying to Australia for a tournament, like to ski in a river, and I jump in the dark. like this was just like, it was a crazy time.
But that was this spring?
Yeah, it was just, this is the most like, without me doing something, I didn't even do anything. Like,
Let me tell you what I love about you, bro.
It's like, what?
I didn't know this. We haven't talked about this at all. But we met each other about a year and a half ago. But you reached out to me in the spring. And you reached out to me in the spring, and we've kind of like commented on each other's posts and like, you know, kept engaged. But you reached out in the spring on one of my posts, and you said something along the lines of, well, you reached out when you saw that I moved to Orlando. We kind of like chatted about going surfing at some point and getting the families together. But then I posted something, and all I remember is that you commented back and said something like, man, I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what's going on, but if you ever need somebody to chat, like I'm here, something along those lines. And that had to have been in the spring when you were going through shit.
Yeah.
How powerful is it though, bro? Like, I don't know if you recognize that about you. That we have not talked about this at all, but like that, your default mode is to be like, you don't even know what's happening. You don't know what's going on. But you know you're going through some shit, but your default is, hey man, if you need anything, I'm here.
Yeah.
I was so impressed by it, bro. And I'm even more impressed by it now, knowing what you were going through.
Publicly, like people that do this aren't like, I'm not like posting I did this, right? It's like, but
yeah,
I do, I want to help people or be there for people when there's my intuition says something is up. But like in our sport, I help even some of my competitors, like quite a few, and some formally pay me to coach them, and I'll do training camps for them. But it's also like at this point, I'm like, if you're into it and like you're serious and it's hard and you want help, I'm just like, I'm here. Like I do, like, and I'm some of the top women jumpers in the world, and other fellow friends that have, you know, want to start something in real estate. I found most of my friends a little first investment property or helped them with it, or aside from business, just like, I mean, I don't know. It feels, and just to relate to people that are trying.
Yeah, going through the same thing you're going through. That's it. Freddy Krueger that you're talking about, like, bro, think about that. He was training you, helping you, and
he coached me when I was 16. I remember the time.
Yeah. And he kept winning. Yeah. You kept getting better, but he kept getting better. I believe it's a hack, man. Like, it's because you're pushing him. Yeah. If you weren't there to push him, he wouldn't have done the things that he did. If people aren't there to push you, you wouldn't do the things you do.
The guy who's helped me most in real estate, his name is Jared Doyle.
Yeah.
He's local in Brevard County. This is insane. My first to start really getting into real estate, we refinanced. I asked my two wealthiest, smartest friends, what do I do? Refi your house. I go find a mortgage broker, go to her. Applying for this loan just to pull $400K out of my house to start this thing. I don't even know what I'm doing. Don't even know how I'm going to spend the money or invest it or what to buy. So, had not even thought of this yet. I just knew I needed to do this, so I did this. And then the mortgage broker's like, Ryan, you really got to meet this guy named Jared. He was an ex-pro baseball player. He reminds me of you. I think what he's doing would be good for you. And I'm like, I'm so sketched out and skeptical. I'm like, what? Who's this? Whatever. I'm like, she gave me his info, and I'm like, hey, dude, what's up? Just to give you a call and chat about real estate. He's like, yeah, dude, come over tomorrow. I'm like, what?
Shut up. That's awesome. Tomorrow.
And I drive over. He's got this big jacked up truck with gold rims and this mansion. And I don't even know who I'm meeting, right? And I open the door. He's like, come on in, dude. And he was so cool, like walking into your office here. Pulls me in, brings me in his office, and he's like, shows me all his corporate books, an LLC for every company, this. He pulls open his computer, shows me all, and I'm still a little skeptical. I'm like, I don't know. He's just like, opens everything.
The kimono. I love it.
And I'm like, part of my brain's like, what do I have to pay? Or like, what's he trying to get me into? Or what's he trying to invest into? So now we'll go, this is 2000, just speaking on behalf of people that technically are your competition that want to raise the level of excellence by raising yours. They want to raise theirs by raising yours. Mm-hmm. Right? This is also one of my mantras.
Do you want to know what competition means to conspire together?
Yeah.
That's what it means. That's
that's amazing.
It's the definition. I know, huh? It's cool.
We haven't had like meetings about how we should, but we've kind of lightly talked about it. Like he's like, oh, we should kind of start similar businesses together that are compatible and synergistic, whatever. But we haven't. But that would be amazing.
Yeah.
But he just like showed me, and then so now that was 2017. Every like say 2-3 months, I've somehow kind of poked him and asked him a real question like, hey, this is happening. What do I do? This
A
thread is
real
coming.
question.
Yeah, like
I
not
like
not
the-
like, hey bro, what paint color?
Yeah.
At the start, it was like, here's my spreadsheet, Ryan. Fill this thing out. When it punches out this number, buy.
Yeah.
The start,
there
I
we
was
go.
kind of annoying. I'm like, what about this one? He's like, stop.
Yep.
And then finally, I sent him this address. He's like, buy.
I love it.
Simple. And then he's like, just keep doing that. And I did. So now, literally, just kind of did what he said. Whatever. It's 7 years later. We've like 10 times what we have. And he still, get this, has not received $1 from me. He has not asked me for anything. He has not pushed me to do anything. He's just there. And then get one house. He was still doing some single family at the time, and it was like through a wholesaler, and I like apparently outbid him, and then we discussed it. And he's like, dude, you beat me on that house. But he specifically said, I don't care because I know I will always be better. And you could say, oh, wow, I was like, dude, that is amazing.
That's amazing, dude.
I said, I feel the same about jumping.
Yeah.
And yeah, so oh, he's cocky. No. That's great.
It's a great thing, bro.
And now he's in a whole nother world of stuff, right?
Yeah.
He's not looking at the Palm Bay single family. So it's cool.
So cool, bro. I love that you
In our
shared that.
sport, that's quite rare, it's not really. There's a few guys thinking sort of like that, but.
But here, like, backtrack again with what you've done is you went all in on it. You know, you told me you start diving into bigger pockets. You know, your wife told you, man, you didn't even know how to change a light bulb. And we were talking about, like, how did you do it? And you just went all in bigger pockets, consuming as much as you can. And then you build relationships and you listen and you execute. That's what makes you what makes you great, bro, is that most people will listen and not execute. Some people won't even listen. They definitely won't execute. You go execute.
I don't know why I would listen. Why else would I listen?
But somebody that somebody that you're teaching, that you're training, that you're trying to help, and they listen, and they execute. Tell me that doesn't like light you
It's
up.
amazing.
Oh my,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah. Like
Yes.
That's priceless.
Do you know who Eric Chatterton is, by chance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Eric, there's probably.
We've talked a bit. Yeah.
I love this dude.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was he at the event that you went to? Okay.
He was the actual one that I sat with.
Oh,
at the
I
desk.
love it, bro.
Yeah.
I love Eric, man.
Yeah.
And what I love about Eric, there's nobody that calls me more than Eric. Nobody.
That's cool.
But what Eric does is he'll ask. I loved how you said I asked a real question, because Eric doesn't just call and be like ask some generic question. He asks specific questions. Like I can tell he's done the work to get to a point where now there's this stoppage, and he's like he asks a real question, and that's beautiful because now I can give a real answer.
Yeah.
Right. And then he'll go and he'll execute, and then he'll come back and he'll be like, okay, I did this, this is what happened, and he's obsessed with it.
I think I've separately, without you knowing, maybe or maybe not, been doing that with him.
I love it.
So it was like I left the conference that I went to, and I said, I'm going to be a part of a 40-unit deal somehow. Still not hit the end within a year, and I haven't. But this spring I found, which was a 13-unit, my first bigger than a triplex that I saw it through a Facebook group and did my due diligence and a lot of work and energy and time. And then I said, hey, Eric, what do you think of this? And he was like, how did you find this?
I love it.
It was $479K on Facebook. I ended up getting it for $285. And we talked about partnering on it, actually. And then he said, it's not really in his buy box, I guess.
Sure.
But it is very near to him. It's south of Dallas, an hour in the Cedar Lake district. And regardless, we talked a fair bit. Then he mentioned his construction company, and we referenced some stuff. And then he said, I think you might just be moving faster than I can go, bro, is what he said. And I'm like, yes, like I'm buying it this week. I'm starting I'm not, and I had loans in queue, but yeah, so I bought it, and I've kind of showed him, here's an update.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're, I'd say 2/3 done, the full remodel with additions, and I just refied 3 places to buy it.
Yeah.
And then another 3 I close on a loan tomorrow for the next draw. And so it'll be 15 units. And someone asked, and this is maybe not to your textbook, but like the way the math is working now is basically any rent that I get, even within like 70% of what I think is market value, we're going to be doing great.
Bro, amazing.
So but yeah, I kind of wanted to show him that I will persevere, not just as an athlete. I will try. Like, I can handle, and I thought, why not, again, not what you told me in your conference, but I thought if I can suffer through this alone, then I think I'll be a more valuable partner. I felt like if I jump in and partner, I feel like I'm going to be annoyed or annoying or asking. But I think if I've done it once, maybe this is wrong, but I think I'll be a better partner because I do want to be a partner with people.
Yeah.
But I thought again, maybe this is like the farmer thing. Like, you're not supposed to do it this way, but whatever, we're doing it.
Whatever,
so
we're doing it.
I'm going to show him at the end when the sign's up.
Yeah.
And, but then I need help with property management. I haven't even started that.
But there's so much to unpack from what you just said, though.
Yeah.
You said, in the beginning, you said, I didn't even know I was doing this refi. I didn't even know what I was doing with the refi. This is a separator, though, bro, because I believe most people who are not successful, the time that it's like they need to know all these things before they're in a position to take action. Successful people are not like that. They take action knowing that they're going to find these things that they need to put together.
I can't do a business plan for this. Like, I know them. I can do the math like on my hand right now, which I think is going to be hard for me when I get into bigger stuff, because like your math isn't, 6 line items.
But it can be. It can be from the beginning standpoint, and then you can get deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good, though. And then another thing that I want to point out, though, because I want to make sure this is not missed. You said, because I think this is a huge hack, you said, I will be part of a 40 unit somehow. And that somehow is huge, dude, because it tricks your mind. It's like, if it's whatever it is that you're trying to achieve that's outside the realm of what your belief, like you talk about, is like what you believe, then your mind will be like, no, I don't think so. It's not possible. But if you just this little word of like somehow, now your mind's
it leaves
like, okay.
imagination. It starts the whatever all
okay,
this
somehow?
is.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Somehow. Right? Tricks you. This is great. You're a beast, bro. I love it, man. Your story is amazing, dude, and what you've been able to overcome is amazing. And I want you to recognize it.
Thank you.
Because you're an achiever, and what an achiever does is you're always measuring yourself off in an ideal state, right? Have you ever read The Gap and the Gain before?
No.
Okay, so all of you achievers out there, there's a book called The Gap and the Gain by Dr. Benjamin Hardy.
I shall read.
It's a phenomenal book. And here's the ideal of it. Okay? Here's the premise of it. You are an achiever, and any of us that are achievers will do this, where we have this target, this goal, this state that we're working towards, right? And so we're obsessed with it. But what happens is that ideal state that it's always in the distance, because you're always progressing, you're always growing, there's always this next level. And so you've made all this progress, but the issue is that you've made all this progress, but if you're always measuring yourself against an ideal, there's always a gap here. And that gap keeps you going. That's what makes you great. But in times of stress, in times of doubt, I believe one of God's greatest gifts is the ability to reflect. And reflect is to look back at the starting point. And when you look back at the starting point, even if it's just for a second, to be like, damn, look how far I've come, which you did in the beginning of this, because you're like, man, in the beginning of real estate, I didn't even know anything. And now I do know some things. You reflect back and you realize how far you've come. It might not be where you want to be, because you'll never be to where you want to be. It's like the horizon. It's always in the distance. But when you measure yourself against the starting point, well, now everything is gain. Yeah. And when you recognize the gain, now you have confidence. You have, positivity. You have, you're happy. And you're like, let's go. And then you can go again, right? The gap and the gain. And there's a healthy balance there. But
yeah, we did a little more formal spreadsheet of like where the real estate has come to this spring before we kind of made this move on this building and another duplex and a few. And it did feel cool to like, because I've honestly not like kept track very well. I just know where it's moving, which I would really like to improve upon. But yeah, I do remember sitting at my desk and, oh wow, this is cool.
Yeah, it is cool, bro. Your journey is amazing, man. The things that you've done are amazing. The things that you've overcome. Your journey is amazing because of the things that you've overcome. Yeah. Your journey is amazing because you've continued to own the outcome the entire way through. And that's why, man, that's why I wanted to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I know, just so you guys know, in the very beginning, we'll kind of wrap up with this, but I just want to get real. In the very beginning, and I think that this is going to surprise people because of what they just heard you say, but you were a little bit nervous in the beginning of what to share and what you should share, and now I don't even know what my story is, and is that true?
Yeah, I mean, I'm nervous because it feels like this is a moment to be useful, and then how do you do it? So I was like, I didn't want to just come in and talk about myself, and unless it's purposeful, and I do, like I say, I aspire to inspire people. So thank you for helping organize that.
No, bro, simple.
Yeah.
I just show up and ask questions, man. But I want you to understand, like, that is your ability to serve, your ability to help others is predicated on your ability to get in front of people and put yourself in the uncomfortable situation. You're willing to put yourself in uncomfortable situations and turn the knob up, like you said, when you took that jump in 2021. Turn the knob up, turn on the music, turn the knob up, take the risk. You're willing to do that, but like putting yourself out there, bro, you've got to put yourself out there. And all of y'all listening to this, you go and send this dude a message to remind him to put yourself out there, because your story is how you impact. You are how you impact. So how do you impact? You tell your story.
It's amazing.
And you continue to create a new one. Like, bro, at any level, like right now, dude, I'm going through shit every day. Like when I truly, and sometimes this is what I'll do, I'll just list it out. Because one of my superpowers is I compartmentalize. Like I will just compartmentalize it. So I'm going through this, compartmentalize this next thing. And I just kind of forget because I'm just next. But when I truly sit back and I reflect, like we talked about, of all the shit that has just been coming, and there's a lot, but the narrative in my head the whole way through is I got to get through this because it's going to help other people get through it quicker. I got to get through this, man. When I get through this, the story's going to be amazing. Man, when I get through this, the impact's going to be amazing. When I get through this, that's what keeps me going. And so how do you impact? Bro, you came to my training a year and a half ago, and
wow. Yeah, you're definitely doing that.
But I just talked about the things that I had done, and now I'm trying to do new things so I can impact at a deeper level, man. And you've done so much in your life, bro, and it is inspiring to me. I'm very inspired in listening to your story because it helps me remind myself to get down to the granular things, the small things, to help me get to the big outcomes. So I appreciate you sharing your story.
So what are the granular things? Like, what does that mean?
So think about your skiing, right?
Yeah.
Where you said you're trying to get this 1% better, this 1 foot better, this. Okay, so you know what it is in skiing.
And the thing with that, which I haven't found anywhere else, is the measure of accountability, and the feedback and response is unavoidable. You can't just sneak an effortless, good feeling jump because you can't, because the ramp, the impact, the G-force, the ramp, if I'm 3 pounds heavier, my legs sore, if I'm tired, it's instant feedback. So I haven't found like how to get this in life, but it has forced and cornered me into, I think what you're saying is the granular level stuff. And it's measured to the centimeter, your distance, regardless of variables. So it's just cornered me into this way of thinking, I'm pretty sure. This doesn't come up with from me.
How did you know those measurables? How did you determine how to measure those measurables and how to focus on getting that little bit better, and the ramp and the weight and how'd you learn that?
Just testing little tests, like one variable at a time. Everything's the same, all constants, and then you just change one thing and you test it for a long time. You just play with one tiny thing, all things the same, no other stuff, no other manipulations, absolute same time of day, same routine, same driver, same weight, weigh myself before, weigh myself after, same routine, same playlist, same mantra, same this, same weather conditions, which is all hard to manipulate. You have to dial all this in. And then how else can you test the same prop, the same this, the same amount of gas in the boat? Brianne does the same thing. We have the same routine. It's like, don't talk right now, like all this stuff, the same decompression routine, take the same notes. And then you're going to gather some data, put it into a spreadsheet and measure it and track it over a month. And then say, how did that work, right?
Track it over a month.
Yeah, do this exact same things for a month and manipulate all that stuff and obsess about it all day, every day, the night before, and then go, oh, how did this slight change in my turn work, right? It's not try a turn once.
But
it's like,
that's what I'm talking about, bro. Most people will try that and they'll get the result for the day, or just one day. And you got to track the day.
Yeah.
But dude, you got to track it over time. You got to track over time, and the time. Then you truly track, because you can't whatever you have to measure what you want to improve, right? It's what it is. You have to inspect what you expect, and so you go and you inspect these little things over time, and then you look at the data, bro. It's the same thing in marketing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in sales. It's the same thing with your properties. These little things, then the impacting here. It's the same thing.
I'm just not, to be honest, I'm not doing it the same. Like, I have some of the skills transferring, but I'm just not. I'm not behaving the same in this world. Like, some parts are carrying, which have been helping, but like the other stuff is not, to be straight up. And I think maybe.
But how long
like
you been in this world?
Been in, like,
the real estate world.
Coming in. I don't even know if I'm in, right?
You're in, trust me. Even though, listen, the first time I had sex, I didn't know if I was in either, but okay. All right, no, I'm in. That's where I'm life.
Yep.
You're in.
Yep.
You're in. Okay. But how long have you been in the space?
I mean, it's just progressively been more in, and right now it's like, okay, this feels in.
When did you do your first deal outside? Like, when did you do the refi?
I mean, we had some little stuff. I didn't even know was happening until 2017, and then it was like, I start. And
2017.
Yeah.
When did you start skiing?
2000. When I was a freaking baby, 91 or something.
When did you start measuring those little things?
I mean, when I was
obsessively.
When I was 10, I was writing down every minute of training and just trying to get the most training in the 3 months of 2.5 months of
That's so impressive.
No ice, right? Like, every day I had a calendar in the glove box of the boat. Because I used to do slalom tricks and jump. One trick, one slalom, one jump, smiley face. Right? It was real.
That's so awesome.
Then it was journaling, and then really, really tracking was like after that head injury when I got fed up and I said, now I have one shot in my life to do this and do it right now. Massive sense of urgency was like tracking data with the boat, learning about props, my stuff, my morning, my evening, and journaling. And boom, 2011 was like, that's when I was like, up way more.
Bro.
Yeah.
What you said, this massive amount of urgency. Urgency is energy, and energy dials in our focus. Like this, just focus on what you're doing. The episode, Only Outcome episode that actually posts today.
Yeah. Check it out. I'll check it out.
You should check it out, because that's what it talks about, how focus is a superpower and it brings you down. And so when you get as hyped, you knew what you wanted to achieve. You knew what you wanted to achieve in the space. Do you know what you want to achieve in the real estate space?
I did, but then I did it.
Okay, in the real estate space.
I did what I thought was the thing to do.
Okay.
And it was, we had a level of spending and to live, and I said, by the time, this was 2011, I said, and I was like, oh, I'll buy one property. I had all these stories that didn't make sense in there. But the one that was for sure was, I saw people come out of the sport, so it's very dangerous, right? A few of the guys I looked up to get injured and have to stay doing it and have to stay current when they really shouldn't have been to pay the bills, to still be the guy they thought they were. I said, I want to not have my identity tied to that. I want to be a human who does water ski jumping, who does other things too, and I wanted to be financially able to do whatever the heck I wanted to do when I thought I might want to retire, which I threw an estimate out to be somewhere around 40. So I thought by the time I was 40, I wanted to be able to live on this. I had in my head then 200, but really it was about 300K cash flow from real estate.
Okay.
So I hadn't even looked at the freaking spreadsheets. I just kept going like a total thinking, I know my math, I know my equity, I know the cash flow. And then this spring I checked it before we even did the apartment building. And I was like, oh, cool. We're there, which was weird.
Yeah.
But then I went and bought another apartment and a duplex, and now I feel even more. And so yeah, got to what I thought was something, and now I'm like, hey, doesn't cool, yay! I had like a smile. Now let's really dive in. Is what I felt. Like you said, whatever you said. So I really had a goal. Got there.
Yes.
It didn't. It was like 3 minutes at my desk where I smiled.
That's how I am, bro.
It didn't do anything.
That's how I am.
But guess what it does, though, for me now? I got to feel it the last 20 days, so I'm not retiring.
Yeah.
I still want to break my world record. I believe I can. I have a slight leg injury, hamstring thing going on right now. I had the freedom to skip literally this weekend as a pro event. I'm not able to hit the jump, but I was able to lightly surf and work out with my team in Nicaragua. So we impulsively left for 20 days with a one-way flight. Bought the flight at the airport to return, extended it, spent 20 days there, absolutely spending family time, working on my body and my mind and this and that and surfing. I can financially and time-wise do that now. So that was what I also had in my head, which alleviates pressure from my jumping.
Yes.
But guess what? When we were going to go home, we flew back 2 days ago. I said, I'm ready to jump. Let's go. Like, let's go home. I got 6 weeks now till the event that I plan to compete in this fall. I believe I can break a world record again, and I want to try.
Let's go, bro.
So
that's so sick, dude.
The real estate business enabled me to alleviate
Yes.
that pressure, to skip stuff that felt like I would have needed, which was my identity. And now I can surf and chill with people and work on my family and dive into this business and meet people like yourself. And I believe still jump back in and be better than if I didn't have this in my sport.
That's the hook. That's the hook of the episode, bro, because that's the outcome. The ultimate outcome is the ability to do the things that bring you ultimate passion and just joy, you know, without the pressure of having to rely on it. And that is, bro.
The quote was, I forget if it was Shaun White or somebody else, it was, the thing I fear most in life is to hate what I love most. Did I say that right?
Yeah, well, I get what you're saying. I don't know if it's right, but I get it.
The thing I fear the most, right? This is to end up hating what I love most. So if I loved most first, my kids and family, but water ski jumping is what, right? It's still in there, and like this, it's spiritual and flying and connecting with the universe and whatever's happening. It's insane. But the biggest fear, and I heard him say that, and this was around that time when I became more motivated in real estate, was like, that would be just devastating if I ended up bitter hating this.
Because you needed it.
Because I needed it and had to do it and beat myself down and resented it and didn't get this outcome and didn't get the medal in the moment I thought I needed it, and all the stories no. Like, no, I'm doing it now. Like, and people ask, oh, why are you jumping? Like, everybody's, I don't even know what they're talking about me, but like, my best moment this year jumping was at home with no one watching, Brianne driving, and me sitting on the back of the boat tingling from this like magical freaking 250 some foot jump I had, and us like literally connecting. She's driving me, she's flying me like a kite. Like, this is what I want. I don't want that to die. So I'm like,
bro, you're a beast. That's so beautiful, man.
it's like something about surfing, right? It's
Similar, yes.
But this is still, it has that part of surfing. But when I get to connect to wind and air pressure and like I'm a plane, like with the feeling of the surfing in the water, but we don't get it much.
Yeah.
It's like once a year I got that 3-second feeling that felt good. The rest of the year it didn't feel good.
Yeah.
I'll still take it.
You're a beast, bro. Oh, that's it. That's what keeps you hunting for it, man, because you know it's there, now it's going to get it. Thank you for sharing your story, man. And I know that you'll put all your contact info and everything below. And man, go follow this dude. Go let him know how this episode resonated with you. And go share, man. You know, you also have a purpose, and it's you want to help build homes in Mexico, correct?
We have done that in the past. I haven't for a while, but I mean, yeah, we did Homes of Hope. I raised money and built the first year one house, and the next year's 2 houses. This was in 2015, 16, 17, I think.
Sweet.
Haven't done it for a while. It was in Ensenada, but I still have all the contacts, and that was probably my most beautiful real estate experience, but that was before I was really thinking I'm an investor.
Yeah.
I'd love to do it again.
Okay.
So
We'll give some information. Yeah, I was going to say.
It's super cool.
We'll throw some information in the show notes on how people can participate and help on that kind of stuff as well.
Thank you.
Ryan, thank you for being here, bro. Thank you for owning your outcome. Listen, thank you for owning your outcome to help other people own their outcome, man. You're an inspiration, my man. Appreciate you.
You inspire me.
Thank you, dude. Hey, everybody else out there, live always with aloha. Peace.